and we have with us today Takesha Wydrow from Sheridan Revitalization Committee, Casey Kula, Yamhill County Commissioner. We've got Mayor Linda Watkins from the City of Carleton. We have Shannon Beaucaire, who is the new city manager for the City of Carleton. Welcome. We'll ask you to introduce yourself later, but it's good to see you here. We've got Steve Sugg from the superintendent of the Dayton School District, the Pirates. We have Mayor Scott Hill from the City of McMinnville. We have Council President Stephanie Finley from the City of Newburgh. We have Joya Goodrum from the McMinnville Chamber of Commerce. And we have Howie Harkema from all kinds of things, at the moment, interim director of Champion Team. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm going to let in Councillor Drabkin from the City of McMinnville. But first off, I'd like to welcome Shannon. How do you pronounce your last name, and where are you from, and what are you hopeful about in joining our community?
No, it's not working. Maybe she didn't do it through her computer, the audio.
Was that a specific question for me?
No.
No, that was actually for the new city manager for Carleton. But welcome, Councillor Drabkin.
Sorry, the pause. I thought maybe I was.
Remy, we always are talking about you. You know that.
Oh my gosh. Usually we try to do it when you're not here, but no, I'm sorry. Well, while we wait for City Manager Beaucaire, just talk it whenever you think it works, and we'll come back to you. But I'd love to hear from Mayor Linda Watkins from the City of Carleton about what she'd like to share with her community today, and maybe even give a pitch for your city manager since she's here but can't quite speak.
Linda, you're muted.
This is why Mayor Scott Hill joins us.
Maybe this is why Carleton is just sometimes.
You need 5G, right?
Huh? Yeah.
I said you need 5G.
Oh, that's been one of the big discussions, in fact, over here. Yeah, I think the city council is going to get started on that. We'll be working with the planning commission, I think, still on figuring out rules and regulations. But, we're very concerned about how that's going to look in Carleton because we're so small that the idea of having multiple transmitters in proximity the way these are designed is a little bit worrisome, I think, for the town. We'll see. You got to worry about something. Come on, guys. Other than that, that our new playground is a hit. The kids are loving it. We're so happy. We're just so pleased with it. And Shannon, can you talk yet? Because I need you to fill in here.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
How about that? In my side life, I'm an IT professional. So I'm kidding. It is pronounced Beaucaire. Thank you very much. So you were very, very close. I am originally from Michigan. I grew up in a small town called Livonia, which is about 20 miles southwest of Detroit. Michigan State alumni graduate for undergrad, Lewis and Clark for law school, and was in Yachats previous to coming to Carleton. And I am just really excited about helping council make a difference in this community. So I'm just beginning of 3 weeks in. So for me to say what I'm most excited about, I'm just going to go with the group effort right now of helping council.
Sounds good. We will for sure grill you about all kinds of things, but it's great to have you here. And hopefully I remember to send you the water task force meeting.
You did.
Okay, great.
Well, Shannon, just to welcome you, reach out to any of our city managers within Yamhill County. It's a close group. Our mayors, Linda and I, we talk from time to time. So it's a very cohesive group. So welcome, and anything we can do to assist you in any way, just reach out.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate that. That was one of my questions throughout the interview process was how closely knit do you work together? And so I was really happy and thrilled to hear that it is a close-knit community.
Absolutely. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And then, okay, we've got Mayor Watkins. You did an update. I'm going to go to Newburgh now. We're doing a little, I guess it's clockwise. Council President Finley, what would you like to share with the community today? And thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you. So we have a few things. Council was last night, and so there are a few things on the table. We started the conversation about SDCs, and as most of you know, that can be a heated conversation. But one of the things that we decided last night is to ask staff to start working on having conversations with our community about what the community would like to see happen with our SDCs. So start looking for that information to be coming out in the next weeks or so about how you can, if you want to, be involved in those conversations about SDCs. Our budget committee kicks off tonight. So if you are interested in seeing what our budget looks like or having some input into that, make sure you tune in because it is on Zoom. And then we started our urban renewal agency. It kicked off last night and we have adopted bylaws. So you'll be seeing more about that. In fact, Lacey, who does our web stuff, put together a video about urban renewal, and it's a wonderful video, and she has it up on Facebook and the website. So if you're looking to see a little bit about what she's doing to get that information out to the community, that's there. And then the last thing that I'm really excited about is that we are adding student commissioners to all of our standing boards and commissions. So that's something new that we decided that we would like to have at least one student sitting on all of those standing boards and commissions. And so that is going to open up for applications. An application process will be open until June 1st. And it's a great way for students to get some experience, add their voice to the things that we're doing at the city, but also add something to their resumes or their college application. So if you know a student in Newburgh that would like to be part of that, please send them to us and we would love to have them. So none of it is super exciting, but it's all good work. So we're excited to get some of those things rolling in Newburgh.
Nice, and I'll be sure to, I'll do a link in a follow-up email to Roundtable to the video, because I'd seen her work before, and I found the one on Elliott Road to be very helpful too, since I knew there was strife, I guess. Are there questions for Councillor Finley?
I have one.
Councillor Draken.
Thank you. I just, if you figure out how to fill those youth or student positions, would love that information back. We've had, we also added that as a role to all of our standing committees and commissions maybe a year and a half ago, or even 2 years ago. We've had a very difficult time filling them. And so if you also want to reach out, and I can talk to you about some of the roadblocks that we've encountered that have kept students off those. I don't need to take this meeting time, but I'd be happy. Just shoot me just call me.
That would be great, and I'll do that. We were lucky enough to have a student who is graduating senior right now. He headed up the whole thing, so he really did a ton of work for us. And so I think part of that is just having a student already so involved in the process, but we will see how it goes. But I definitely will reach out to get some more information to make it a success here.
Nice. And I tried to, or I added into the bylaws, the membership bylaws for our solid waste committee, a student member, and I got no support from the existing solid waste advisory committee or from my fellow commissioners. So it's definitely there's a hill to climb there around getting student voices, and it really the experiences. I feel like it's as important as their voice is getting them the opportunity.
Commissioner, I'll tell you from McMinnville's standpoint, we have had more and more success, and we've reached out to those that have testified before us on certain topics. So they're committed to something before us, and every one of our students that are serving is finding a lot of joy and fulfillment in doing that.
Very nice, very nice. That's a really good idea. And we do get testimony from younger people, so I should just reach out to them. All right, great. Thank you, Councillor Finley. And I'm going to go to Sheridan in the West Valley next because sometimes Takesha waits and waits and waits, and then she has to go. So welcome, and what would you like to share with your community today?
Hello. Just a reminder that this Saturday we have the big cleanup. Registration is from 8 to 9 at the Sheridan High School parking lot area. We're doing it kind of staged like that so that we can send people off in different directions and really make sure we're doing the social distancing and all that. So show up anytime between 8 and 9 and we'll give you supplies and all of that. Also, I just wanted to mention that I started doing some research and discussing with the revitalization group about the idea of doing Adopt a Highway. And I was just thinking, wouldn't it be cool if we could have the entire 18 from Sheridan to Mac and then beyond, or the other places all covered? And maybe that could be something that we can start bringing up to businesses, organizations, because I know that ODOT's had a hard time getting to it this year with all the things they're dealing with, not being able to use prison crews, not being able to get through from the ice storm and the cleanups and all that. So I was just thinking it might be a great time to start pitching that to all the different communities. And I've started that, but I know, Sheridan only goes so far. So yeah, that's it for me.
I think it's a great idea, Takesha. Apparently that's hard for me to say. And you have a contact at ODOT, I assume.
Yeah,
because you've talked to them about this.
I've talked to them before. There's like a page, a main page. I can put it in the chat that you just go onto and you can start kind of finding information. But it would be kind of cool. It would have to be a cooperative effort to figure out like who's taking from here to here and here to here and all that. But I imagine it wouldn't take a huge number of businesses or groups to be able to cover the whole thing. And I think you have to commit to 2 times a year. I believe it's 2 times a year to do that cleanup, but they provide they'll put signs up and block off the road, or not the road, but the saying cleanups during this time and this time and
right.
All that. Yeah, I'll put it up.
That sounds great. And I saw there's some wonderful folks in Dayton who are part of the Community Mediators program. And they're also avid walkers and runners, this retired couple. And they clean the section kind of from between the airport to Dayton really regularly. But it would be nice to have something more formal, and at the very least so people can join them. And I feel like, I don't know, they clean the county roads, which, it's like there's no shoulder and then a ditch. So it's an intrepid crew that they have. But thank you for bringing it up, and let's get it started. Are there questions for Takesha? All right, great. Thank you very much. And I'm going to go to the city of McMinnville now. Mayor Hill, what would you like to share with the community? And it's good to have you back.
Absolutely. It's good to be back. Let me just kind of update. There's been a really busy week, a lot of things going on. First off, we've had an opportunity to go before the Joint Ways and Means Committee this last Thursday evening. They had their public testimony, well over 100 witnesses, and we probably only got through 40 of those. So it just shows you they limited it to 2 minutes, but still a lot of opportunities out there. Specifically, I was before the committee talking about the Newburgh-Dundee bypass, and we had Denise Harvey, who's from the Tribal Council, and Susan Sokolblosser, who's on our committee. And basically what we're looking at doing is we're looking for the Ways and Means Committee to support Governor Brown's $32 million budget add for the bypass, and then also the support of ODOT so that we could possibly look at earmarks and grants. And Casey and I have really been on a lot of meetings recently with our congressional, state, and local group. Matter of fact, this Thursday, we're going to go before the governor just to update her where we're at on the bypass. So lots of opportunities on the bypass. We have some interim steps that we think that we may be able to get some funding and getting that intersection at 219 squared away. That would be the lead to phase 2, but a lot going from that perspective. We also had an opportunity, Councillor Menke talked to Ways and Means Committee about two projects that Roundtable are putting forth for McMinnville. The first one is a $3.5 million dollars to help with our navigation center. And as many of you know, the legislature has given us 1.5 million towards the navigation center for housing of the services of those that are homeless. And Ron Noble has put forth his idea of a 3.5 million to add to that. And so we talked a little bit about that. And so also with some infrastructure money, we're looking at a $500,000 ask for the 3rd Street design and some of the things that we'll be doing downtown. And so those are all up in the air. We won't know until May, middle of May, but those are some of the things legislatively that we've been doing. I think as someone mentioned, cleanup is a big thing after the ice storms and the trees, and we've had tremendous support. I know of 2 church groups that have gone out and done Discovery Meadows Park, so that's up and going. The West Side Trail that goes through McMinnville, that's been done. And this Saturday, we're looking at Workman Park in conjunction with the Lions Club of going and getting Workman Park. We have so limited resources when it comes to personnel to do all the major cleanup that we're struggling big time. There are 2 parks that are not even we're not even attempting at this point. And that would be Airport Park because of structural damages to some of the bridges and the big trees have gone down there. We also know that Tice Park has so many trees and so many things that are down that we've closed those 2 parks. And then Lower City Park, even though we can get to it, those trees are large. And so those are things that we are working on from that perspective. I think just to not take too much time, this evening we're going to be at Water and Light. We're going to be talking about system development charges, and this is on water for Zone 2, and that would be the area that is in the higher West Hills. We've got a gravity system that comes down from the Nestucca, and when you're going downhill and then you hit McMinnville and you have to go back uphill, it doesn't work. And so we've got so much property out in the West Hills that are above a certain elevation that to do it properly, we would need to have a reservoir, a large reservoir high up in the hills, in Redmond Hills, that we could then do another gravity fill. And so that type of a project is $100 million. It takes a lot of money for us to do what we need to do there. And so we have to determine how we're going to be able to service that area because there's a lot of land there. So we'll be talking about that tonight. We'll be seeing if we'll also be setting a public hearing for electric rates that are coming down the road. And so those are just some of the topics that we've got going on. And again, I'll end on, many of you have read in the newspaper that the city of McMinnville has furloughed about 82 of their non-union employees and those that aren't emergency. So police, fire, and wastewater have not been furloughed, but everyone else has, including the city manager and all of the department heads. And we're taking the availability of the Oregon workforce process that goes through the 1st of September, where they can receive unemployment. And so our employees financially are not going to be hurt, but the ability for us to give services out when you've taken 1 day a week out is very difficult, and we're struggling with that, but it'll save us somewhere between $500,000 and $600,000 to help us balance our budget, which we're in the midst of doing that right now. So those are the things that I've got to report from McMinnville.
Great, thank you, Mayor. Joya.
Mayor, thank you for that update. I have a question. So you talked about electricity rates. Do you have a sense of how the current clean energy bills that are being discussed at the legislature could potentially impact McMinnville?
If I'm thinking about the same thing that you're talking about, we're going to be discussing that this evening, Joya, because McMinnville is a clean provider, and so we can sell our credits on the open market because of our electricity coming from Bonneville. We have the turbos out at Riverbend, and so we're probably 95% clean, and so we have this abundance of clean credits that we can sell. So we're on the other side. We're doing such a good job, but those are the abilities that we have then to down the road provide electrical plug-ins and those for electric vehicles. And we're making headways out in at the Water and Light also from a perspective of getting more environmentally friendly vehicles where we have a truck that has different beds on the back, so it can be a dump truck, it can be all kinds of things. You just pick up the back and hook it on, and so we don't have as many trucks on the road, specialty trucks on the road, because we can put a different chassis, a different body on the chassis, and it can do multiple things for us. So I don't know if that answered all of your questions.
It did. Thank you. I appreciate that because, there's a great concern that the clean energy bills are really going to impact, communities. And we're so blessed that we have our own electric company.
And we're 95%, and we're 95% safe and clean, carbon free.
That's awesome. Thank you for informing all of us on that. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Other questions from the mayor? All right. Well, thank you for the update. Very appreciative. Yes, we've been doing a lot of work on the bypass, and there's still obviously more to come. It looks like Congresswoman Bonamici's office may at least be able to get an $8 million request to us. So, fingers crossed and do the work. Okay, great. Thank you very much. And then I'm going to go to Councillor Drapkin if she's still with us from an update from the council.
I am, but I'm eating lunch.
We could go to Howie while we stick with the McMinnville vibe.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Howie Harkema, welcome. What would you like to share with the group?
Well, number one, this Friday is the last day the Champion Team will be open, the 23rd. And beginning Monday, we will start moving stuff out of the building for either storage or allowing it to go to other concerns. We're still looking at a business office at the end of 2nd Street and Hill Road. We meet with the property owner and our broker tomorrow. We will see how that turns out. We're glad to have been there since 2000 for the people who have needed the services that we offer at Champion Team. It's a hard thing to close down something that so many people rely on, but with all of the problems that we've had at Champion Team, specifically with the lack of income due to the loss of our contract due to mismanagement of other things in the past, we're hopeful that Encompass Yamhill Valley will be able to slip right in and take the place of many of the services that Champion Team has been able to do over the years, and with a lot less baggage. There was a great article by Nicole Montesano and also Dora Tatuyan from the News Register this morning below the fold. There will be a series of articles as time progresses. We thank them very much for including us in that so people will know what's going on. We appreciate all of you and for the backing that we've been able to receive to stay open through the 30th of April. And so it's just time for the change. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Howie. Are there questions for Howie, especially since this is a big step and a big loss? All right, Well, thank you, Howie, for joining us to explain that. And Howie, do you have a sense of where people are going to be able to go to access some of the services that
we certainly have been speaking with a number of partners to see what pieces of the puzzles that they can take on. And certainly First Baptist at their Star Room on Mondays and Fridays, early morning. First Presbyterian Church for dinners. St. Barnabas Episcopal Church for dinners, breakfasts, etc. The food part of it is the easy part because we in McMinnville are blessed with a number of community dinners, breakfast, and dinners at soup kitchens. The hard part is not having a place for people to be, and that's the big part. I'm hopeful that the library will be able to have some of the people come in there as a day shelter. I'm hopeful that other churches might open up and also use their facilities as a day center, and certainly other partners can jump in and grab some of the services that we can't provide as we transition.
Okay, and then Joya.
Howie, first of all, thank you for all you're doing. Secondly, great article in the paper today. Question, so what are some of the needs that the clients that are coming to Encompass Yamhill are needing? Because I have businesses that are looking for people to come and work for them, and I don't know what the needs are, because I'd like to see if there's a way we can help each other, help our businesses and help these folks that may need some income. I don't know what the needs are. Could you give us a quick update on what that is?
Sure. We have a person in-house, Kristen Norton, who handles stimulus package, taxes, court orders, et cetera, that no one else in town handles. So those are the types of things that are immediate needs, and certainly would be welcomed at Encompass Yamhill Valley immediately. As you know, Encompass is going to have to kind of take it slow as we raise money. We'll be able to hire back some of the people that we're laying off. And the second person in line is that person who does all of those things. The first person in line is the car camping, safe overnight car camping program, which we cannot let any gaps occur. So we have to hire that person back immediately.
Great. So what I'm hearing is there are needs prior to what your clientele are needing at this point that have nothing to do with the job.
That's correct.
Right? Okay. That's good to know. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification.
Sure.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Howie. Howie, is there anything more you wanted to add? Because it looks like Councilor Grafton has been chewing.
Certainly. The next mayor's Zoom on homelessness will be Thursday, May 6th at 1 p.m. After this one, we probably will still start inviting other participants as well as the mayors and some of the city council members. We're very hopeful that we can grow this thing. Scott and I had a great conversation at the Newburgh Prayer Breakfast about growing this up a little bit. We had 3 mayors last time. Scott, I believe you're going to be in South Carolina, but you're going to call in on this one. So thank you very much for that. There's a lot going on in McMinnville, as we all know. It's coming into summertime. My biggest concern is only a day center, a place for our homeless population to be, and so it doesn't get so hot that we have some heat strokes out. You know, it's coming. So.
And Howie, water. I know that last summer and the summer before, water was a really big issue. People being able to get it, especially last summer with a lot of spaces being closed. How is water situation and supply?
Right now, I don't know of any place that is allowing for that concern. We do at Champion Team have a number of gallons of water that we purchased, and certainly will take them to the new business office if we get that acquisition. And we may have to take it into town and do a street corner thing where we just hand out gallons of water. When we run out, we'll figure out an alternative. Maybe we can start some sort of not a fundraising, but gatherings of gallons of water, because they're only 88 cents at grocery outlets. So,
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for bringing that up.
I have to go. I got to go film my TV show with Ramsey McPhillips. I'll see you later, guys.
Thank you, Howie. And you will guarantee to fill it.
Yes. Bye.
All right, Joya, we still have 27 minutes before you have to leave. So I'm going to go down to Councillor Dravkin to make sure we get her an update. Welcome, and what would you like to share with people?
Thank you, Commissioner. I want to touch on that water issue really quickly. I think that there's maybe some other conversation that should be had about tap stations, of course, filling not only immediate water needs, but RV needs, et cetera, with purchase product that comes in plastic when water happens to be something we're rich in. I think perhaps there's a little additional conversation that can be had, as this meeting is so good at doing, spurring other conversations. So thank you for that. And thank you for giving me time to eat the huge lettuce leaf from Even Pull that I get out of the Mac Market cooler. You know, eating at home alone, you don't really, sometimes you don't use a knife, and so it's a little much. So let's see, actual relative updates here. So there's about 650 kids registered for spring soccer through Mac Parks and Rec. They've also received a $20,000 grant for early learning. That would be to help administer programs like STARS and KOB, and so they'll be putting out, or perhaps already have out, an RFP for providers for different sorts of early learning programs. We all know there's a burn ban in effect. I'll just take a moment to say that. I'm trying to be conscientious not to repeat anything the mayor said. Our planning department is doing a lot of work right now with House Bill 2001, and there will be a number of open houses, so people can come and ask questions and better understand the implications of House Bill 2001. And one of the major implications for our county, or for the entire state, is that single-family residences, land that historically was intended only for single-family residences, now has the ability to build multifamily. And so Tuesday, April 27th at 2 p.m., Wednesday, April 28th at 6:30 p.m., and Thursday, April 29th at noon are all upcoming open houses to meet with the planning department and better understand the implications of House Bill 2001 in McMinnville anyways. Our Dine Out program on 3rd Street starts Memorial Day, and it's a little larger this year, going Baker to Galloway, and it's also going to include Thursdays. And then our DEI advisory committee is working hard on putting together an action plan for the city. We've had 2 meetings now, a really incredible group of people, but we're look forward to presenting in this some of the action items that we established for McMinnville, because I believe we're the first city in the county with a DEI advisory committee. So I look forward to sharing that information here as we move forward. And then I think I can announce that we'll be hosting the 2nd annual Wine Country Pride the last weekend in June. We're still waiting on a few permits from a few different places, so hopefully I'm not rushing this, but we're planning. We have multiple organizations involved to plan multiple events throughout throughout our county. So events from Dayton to Newburgh and McMinnville. And those are coming together. And then additionally, there will be a month-long fundraising effort throughout the county, similar to the Meltdown, called Rainbow Quest. And Diane Longacre is working with us and volunteering to organize that, with proceeds going to Wine Country Pride, which ultimately last year and continuing this year, we're creating scholarships for local students for any sort of continuing education or vocational training. And those are being distributed through PFLAG. So a lot more to come on that, and have a great day. Enjoy, get some vitamin D.
Awesome. Super exciting. Thanks for leading that effort. Joya, how's a question?
Of course I have a question. So either Mayor or Councillor Drabkin, could you fill us in on two things? There's a lot of building going on around town, which is super exciting, and people are asking about what those buildings are. I'm assuming most of them are businesses, excluding all the housing that's going out on Hill Road and that in Baker Creek. And the second thing is, there was a huge discussion I saw on Facebook yesterday about why all the trees were cut down next to the Third Mile Lane Bridge. So very briefly, I know what's going on, but I think it would be nice if there was a little discussion here about that as well. Thank you.
Well, I can just start out. There is a lot of commercial building going up in town on 99 out by Colvin Ford. There's a complex of a retail complex going on. There's one that's down by the bowling alley. So those are the two that are primarily on 99. On West 2nd, you've got a dental office going out by Hillside, right next to our power transmission station there. They're supposed to be in that facility within the month. Out by McDonald's, out on 3 Mile Lane, McMinnville Eye Clinic is going to be moving from behind Comfort Inn, and the doctors have a new, just going to be a beautiful facility going in there. So those are a couple of things, lots of things happening from that standpoint. And your second question, Joya, was the discussion
about the trees being cut down next to 3 Mile Lane Bridge.
Right. And so that, for those that have been following, we are going to be, ODOT is going to be starting construction on our new 3 Mile Lane bridge. And we're going to be putting up a temporary bridge over to the right. And so there were trees down there. Those needed to be cut down so that they could have the equipment go in, because that's going to be their working from underneath. So they have to build a new 2-lane temporary structure. They will tear down the old structure and rebuild the new structure. It will be wider. There will be facilities for pedestrians, much wider than we see today, and for bike. And so, Casey, you're aware of that. And then we're also going to be putting all of our infrastructure, which will be water, electric, will be embedded in the new bridge. And so there's some of those types of things happening. So lots of dollars coming in through that project, as is, many of you know that they are doing 99 from Dundee all the way down into McMinnville. And so there's delays going that direction, but that's a major project. And especially in Dundee is getting a real uplift, because they're taking that pavement down quite a ways. In Dundee, they just received their new lights downtown. It's beautiful. They've been waiting 3 years for that, with the support mechanisms sticking up with cones. And so Mayor Russ is just really excited about that. But it's going to enhance our road coming all the way down and coming into McMinnville. At McDougall's Corner, we're having an opportunity, Mac Water and Light, to upgrade some of our facilities underground there also. So we've got those contracts out and we're headed that direction. So, that's just the tip of a big iceberg, and then all of the residential stuff happening out on the off of Baker Creek Road. I think that whole second phase across the street on the north side is going much quicker than they anticipated, because they put in curb and gutter, taking us back to the property behind the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints property, and that'll open that up for Premier. And so there's just a lot of things happening right now.
Thank you, Mayor.
And Remy, I don't know if you had any other information to Joya's question. I just know that I've had an opportunity to go to a few meetings to get some of that input.
Mayor, I knew you had it covered, Mr. Mayor.
And to add, every time I drive over, ever since the ice storm, when I drive over the 3 Mile Lane Bridge, I think I need to tell somebody that there's still gravel on the path, the bike lane, wheelchair lane, path. And the reason why I bring that up is that I was coming out of town a couple of weeks ago, and a man with a power wheelchair, they have the power back wheels, and in the front are these little wheels, the casters, and those were going like this. And I should say that I wasn't terrified for him. I was very concerned for his safety going across the bridge. And it's really not necessary, but I think it's an ODOT thing.
It is an ODOT thing, but I can tell you, as you know, commissioners, we look at those plans, we're going to have something that will be resilient during earthquakes and those types of things, but also are going to serve our community so much more efficiently and better and safely as we go forward. So we hope that people continue to be safe there until we can get the new structure up and going.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And I need to just put in a work request for that. So, okay. Let me see. We have Steve, Superintendent Sugg. What would you like to share with us if you're able to, if you're not putting lettuce into your mouth? And if you're not ready yet, I can do an update too, but hopefully Superintendent is with us. I will try back in a moment. So the most pertinent news around coronavirus. Oh, we've got him. Welcome back.
Sorry, you think my technology skills would be better at this point in the pandemic, but they aren't. So, we have a lot of construction going on. So if you've driven through town, you see the temporary offices and storage containers around. So about, half the grade school right now has renovations going on. And this summer, the entire school, but both buildings will be renovated and we'll have new entrances. We're starting to think about graduation and those kind of things. So the COVID cases going up is kind of stressing us out a little bit, because we're trying to figure out what graduation will look like, if we'll kind of do what we did last year, or if maybe it could look a little more traditional as we think about that. So we've got about 7 weeks of school left, and we're kind of settling into the hybrid learning, which is nice to kind of settle into a routine for that. Maybe it looks like we'll be in that for the rest of the school year, and just crossing our fingers about people getting vaccinated. We do have a vaccine clinic for Dayton area residents is kind of the target this Friday. And people should call the health department, the COVID line at the health department, to sign up for that for 18 and older here in the Dayton area Friday. So we're hoping people will continue to get vaccinated, and hopefully the counts will start back down soon.
Yes, thank you, Superintendent. And I noticed that McMinnville High School is also hosting a vaccine clinic, and they must have, I forget which one is the Pfizer or the Moderna, they must have access to the one that's approved for 16 plus, because that was the group.
Yeah, so that's the Pfizer vaccine, and we've reached out to a lot of our students. So yeah, the target group there is 16 and 17-year-olds and their family members. So anyone who has a 16 or 17-year-old family member or has a 16 or 17-year-old at home, they should call and get a appointment there, and all the family members in that household as well can get a vaccine at that same clinic. So
great, thank you for those details. And then what does the timeline look like? Is it in the fall fall for full in person, or do you not? Your crystal ball, and then what does it look like over the summer for you? Because I know that Director Gill from the Oregon Department of Education has been talking about different program options, but I think every school district gets to decide, right?
Yeah. So the fall is, that's a big crystal ball, right? We're trying to do graduation 6 months away or 6 weeks away, and you're asking about something that's 4 months away. So, it's a big crystal ball. Right now we're planning on 5 days a week and hoping that's the way it goes, that it'll look a lot more normal as people get vaccinated and again, hopefully case counts come down. This summer we are going to do summer school. We in Dayton we have the issue of construction, so we'll have small spaces that are available to do summer school, but I think most districts are just now working on what that's going to look like and how do we staff that. It's been every year is probably a tiring year, but this year staff seems to be more tired, more mentally exhausted than they've been in the past. So trying to give them a break, but also do what we can for our students over the summer. So there will be some summer programming.
Okay, thanks for that teaser. And thank you for joining us. Sorry to throw a harder question your way, but I figured you'd appreciate at least considering it for us. And I was on a back to school Spanish English Zoom last night with Director Gill, and so I got to see a little bit of the details of what they're hoping for both for the summer and for the fall. So it's exciting and hopeful, but again, case counts, right? Well, thank you for joining us for that update. And then Joya, I totally skipped you, and yet here you are needing to leave early.
I am still here. If nothing, I am persistent.
Please give us an update.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. I appreciate it. I'll be brief. Well, maybe not. I don't know. So tomorrow night from 6 to 7, the Chamber is hosting a Zoom with the candidates for the McMinnville School District. Their election is coming up very shortly. There are 6 candidates, and so we're really much looking forward to hearing them. And that's from 6 to 7 p.m. via Zoom. We did submit a letter, the Chamber, on behalf of supporting the bypass. And we did that today. And so I'm really happy to be supporting that. And hopefully that $8 million comes through so we can get more done on that bypass. Our businesses and our residents and certainly our visitors will benefit from it. Lemonade Day is August 21st, our favorite day of the year. It may be a little sour, but we like it anyway. And things that you should be aware of is I sent this email out yesterday. House Bill 3389. This is for our businesses, passed the House. It needs to go to the Senate, but it would give businesses a tax cut on their unemployment insurance. A lot of businesses were hard hit this year with their unemployment insurance, and so it would give them a little bit of relief over the next 10 years. And so we're waiting to see what happens with that bill. The reason I asked Howie about if there were people that needed work is because our businesses are telling us that they have job openings. And people who are looking for work, there's openings out there. And if you're interested, and they're paying really well. I mean, we're talking 15 to 20 bucks an hour. So it's not, they're good paying jobs and they're good jobs. And so I highly recommend if you're looking for a job, there's lots of different places. You can look at the Chamber website, you can go to Indeed, and you can go to Express Employment. You can go to a local employer, call your former employer if you're currently unemployed, to see what's available out there for you. The SBA announced that it is running low on funds. And so when it comes to the PPP program, if you have not done your application, get that out there. They're also saying forgiveness loans are taking a long time to process. The shuttered venue grant application portal, that fell apart. The whole site broke. So I think it's back up and running again. Business Oregon announced a second round of grant programs for building owners. So if you are a landlord and you've got a tenant that is a business that is having trouble paying, there's $42 million in the fund that can help you with that as well. Shemeketa is offering low and no cost business classes. If you are currently unemployed and you're considering opening a business, you might want to take a class. So Shemeketa's SBDC is offering that. And the Oregon Employment Department is holding a proposed rulemaking hearing on Friday, April 23rd, about an amendment that would change to the work-share program with the intent of allowing individuals to receive work-share benefits when they miss work for reasons beyond their control. And that is my report. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Joya. Are there questions for Joya? There was a lot of different stuff. Councillor Grafkin.
Thank you. I had something to add. There was, I think it was announced in here last year, but it went live over the weekend. I couldn't find in my notes quickly enough. But the SBA is going to be administering a new round of grants for restaurants. It's part of the American Rescue Plan, and that went live on yesterday or the day before, I believe. There are only 60,000 grants being administered, though, so that money will go exceptionally fast. And then you also touched on employment, and it's a very interesting. It's kind of loaded, so I'm not sure exactly how to proceed, but I do want to say that it's true. There are so many of us that are hiring, and we are not getting applicants, even at $15 an hour. And part of the feedback we're getting from the community is that the community is not interested in going back to work to wait on unvaccinated people, and in situations where people are taking their masks off. And if I take off my council hat and put on my small business hat, owning and operating a business where people do take off their masks, and we've all been told over and over, you're supposed to remove it, take a sip or a bite, put it back. Nobody does that. I mean, you've all walked around, you've seen inside every restaurant. And so assistance from the public will be assisting your small businesses in terms of getting vaccinated and continuing to follow mask rules, especially for the service industry. It will be more reasonable to have a returning workforce that is based on no data or anecdotal evidence. That is 100% my opinion, which is why it's loaded. I try not to drop opinions in here, only data. But it's part of what I'm living. So adding my voice.
Yeah, when you hear those thoughts, you hear those thoughts from people, and you have to listen because you're a small business owner. I mean, that's like, it's it. You got to respond. Yeah. Joya was going to say something.
Thank you, Councillor, for saying that. I had not heard. I'm only hearing from my businesses, so I'm not hearing from employees that are out there, and I appreciate that perspective immensely. And that's good information to share as well. The Restaurant Revitalization Fund, thank you for bringing that up. It's $28.6 billion to help restaurants, and I'm not sure when it opened. So you're right. It could be possible it opened recently. Also, the SBA has EIDL loans. For people that were denied an EIDL loan at any point, you can actually go back and reapply. And so if anybody has any questions about that, they can reach out to me. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for being such a resource. Mayor Hill.
I just downloaded a file from the governor, and she just released her list of counties. And this takes effect Friday the 23rd, and McMinnville is going to be back in the high risk. They're not one of the extreme. There are 11 counties that go back to the extreme risk, but because of capacity at hospitals, they're all going to be in that high risk and not the extreme risk. And we have 10 in the low risk, we have 3 in moderate, and then now we have 26 counties in the high risk. So again, it just is, it's a roller coaster. And when we're talking about business and we're talking about restaurants that now had gotten enough faith to kind of open back up and order and rehire, we're back into this situation. And so we can't wait for Memorial Day to get, Memorial Day to get here soon enough and to have that extended 3 days of dine out in McMinnville. So I thought,
Sorry.
go ahead. I thought I'd just share that because it just came across from Jody Christensen.
Thank you for that. Is there any guidance on, because my understanding was that the governor was not going to have really increased the restrictions, that, yeah, you can go to high risk, but the restrictions might not quite be as restrictive?
Joy, I just downloaded the file, so I haven't had a chance to look at it. I just wanted to make sure that I knew where Yamhill County was before I announced it. To my knowledge and the calls I've been on, that those risk categories remain in effect, and so there is movement there. I don't know how strictly that's going to be followed, but the guidelines have been intact the whole time.
Okay. In other words, we're not going to, none of the guidance and how we behave when we move up changes. In other words, if before you had to wear a mask and you couldn't do indoor dining, we're going back into no further indoor dining. Is that correct?
I think we're at 25% capacity. So remember, we were at high risk for so long, which really curtailed what we were able to do. We went to high risk.
We were at extreme.
We were extreme. We were extreme, and then we went to high, and then moderate, which brought us up to 50%. That allowed us to do what we're doing. So my understanding is we're back to the 25%, and that's where the dine out types of things are going to be helpful. But the places like gyms and that, I think fitness gyms now go back down to only 6 in the facility at any given time.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I'm so sorry. I have to run. Yep. Lovely to see everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joya.
Yep, thanks. Bye-bye.
Yes. Okay. And now I don't need to do like a quarter of my update because Mayor Hill got it in. So yes, we are moving to the higher risk category. One of the things that's important, I think, to note and observe is that, so this is related, really, is that 73% of Yamhill County residents who were 65 and over have been vaccinated with the coronavirus vaccine, which is a tremendously helpful number. And that is very accurately reflected in our case counts. Over the weekend, we had 46 new cases from Friday to Monday. And of them, the vast majority, maybe 40 of those new cases were between the ages of 0 and 29. So we're not seeing case counts go up in populations in age groups of people who are more at risk of complications, right? So that is very, very positive to see. It also confirms what we understand, which is that the vaccine does work. We also right now are at 40% of Yamhill County residents who are over or 16 and older, if that makes sense, who have been vaccinated. So we're moving up, which is significant since, 45 to 16 just was newly eligible starting this week. So it is a good number, and we can see the results in our case counts. Unfortunately, the case counts still continue to go up. That is very disheartening. But I do think that we are going to be in a place soon where we're going to be seeing a lot less harm in the short term from coronavirus cases. The hard thing to know is that in some people who have minor symptoms early on have ended up developing long-term symptoms. So it's a mysterious illness. A friend of a friend actually develops the psychosis symptoms of it. Fully verified by their doctor. So it is something we still want people in our community to avoid, even if our oldest residents are getting more and more protection. But thank you, Mayor Hill, for updating us on that. It's an unfortunate thing to hear, but I think we're gonna get past it. I know we're gonna get past it. One other thing I do want to note, or a couple other things, is that right now, as I put out, I think everybody here was included in the water task force meeting. And Mayor Watkins, I apologize for the confusion, is that I'm convening a meeting of the water task force so that you all can get together and we can talk about the water projects that are most urgent in your communities. And hopefully out of that, figure out funding mechanisms and kind of pass forward. Because with the American Rescue Plan money, plus potential infrastructure bills coming down the road, I think we have a good opportunity to really update our water systems. Because as Mayor Watkins has noted, it's expensive sewer and water bills in some communities around here. And if we can lower those or keep them steady, I say that's a really good use of these funds, especially because it provides, as Mayor Hill noted, the resilience that replacing the 3 Mile Lane Bridge means that that bridge will be there when there's an earthquake. And years down the road, it means that our water and sewer systems will also be there. So hopefully you all can make it to that. I'm looking forward to that conversation. Related to that is that the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality has now designated some counties in Oregon as being responsible for mercury that goes into our waterways. And so that is part of the Water Task Force meeting coming up, is to talk about what that looks like in each community. Since each cities below a certain level are not responsible for their mercury emissions, but cities like McMinnville are responsible for it, specifically in their sewer outflow. And then the county itself is responsible for it along roadways, is one of the main ways. Farming operations that have erosion issues to deal with as far as water quality are actually regulated differently than how we will be. So more to come on that. But the reason is that mercury comes down, gets rained down after it crosses oceans from China, from coal burning power plant emissions. It lands on our soils, it gets taken up in our soils, and then it's freed during erosion. It runs into our rivers, fish take it up, and they become toxic for people to eat. It's this great, it's just like the wildest cycle. And the Environmental Protection Agency and Oregon Department of Environmental Quality are finally at the point where they're ready to address it. So more to come on that. But it's going to be a hard one for all of us to figure out. And so my hope, I'm in very early conversations with Representative Noble to find out whether we can get funding from the state, since county is required to regulate this, but we've never done it before, and we don't get any funding to do it. So cross your fingers on that one. And hopefully we will be taking care of yours, Mayor Watkins. So you won't have to worry about it.
I think I think our city manager and our finance director just had a crash course in mercury last week. So yeah, they're worried. I'm worried. So
yeah, we will figure it out.
Good to hear.
Yeah, we will figure it out. But it'll take, it really is an issue where it'll take the cities and the county cooperating. So
yeah.
So as Mayor Hill noted, we do that, Shannon. Okay, are there any last thoughts?
Yeah, one little thing, as Mayor Hill mentioned, we were at the Mayor Rogers prayer breakfast the other day. And for those of you who've missed it, I don't know, I think they were going to, will they have that up on video, or Mayor Hill, do you recall if they mentioned anything?
I don't know that, I didn't see any cameras, video, and they've done that in times past, but I don't know, other than they were live streaming it, so.
Maybe they would. If they do, and if you get a chance, the two counselors, the two Newburgh counselors who were basically the keynote speakers, both just did really tremendous jobs. And if you get a chance, and if there's any opportunity to watch their speeches, I would really strongly encourage you to do so. The whole event was nice, but those two speeches particularly are worth digging out if you can find them.
Yeah, it addressed diversity and equity in a very personal way in Newburgh.
And I do say, well, thank you. I'm sorry that I missed it. I was actually doing some farming, so. I do like to note, I was going to mention this, but it was getting so close to it, that the verdict has come back in the Derek Chauvin murder trial. And so far it's guilty on first count, guilty on second count, and guilty on third count. So. Excuse me. But I would like to, since I don't think we have anything else, I'm going to go and be obsessive on Twitter and think about George Floyd's family and the people in Minneapolis right now. So thank you, all of you, for being here with us today. And stay safe.